Welcome back. In the previous lecture we saw about how do you write the simple programs in Python, then the assignment operators, logical operators, relational operators, boolean operators, and how do you do the assignments, how the data type of the variable changes dynamically. All these things we saw already. So in this lecture we are going to look about the control flow statements. There are basically two statements which alters the flow of the program. The control flow is nothing but it determines the order in which the statements are executed. These two statements which alters the flow of the program are basically the conditional statements and the looping statements. The conditional statements are nothing but the if condition, if else. The looping statements are nothing but for loop, while loop and do while loop. So in this lecture we are going to concentrate on the conditional statements, that is if else statements. So basically the general syntax of the if condition looks like this: if condition colon, then the next line starts with the block of the if condition. So the next line should begin with an indentation, that is you should give a tab space and then you type the statements in the next coming lines until the if block ends. Once the if block ends, then you can continue typing the statements in the next line from the beginning of the first column. So that's what the syntax shows here. If condition colon, the statement 1, statement 2 executes conditionally. The statement 1 and 2 based upon the condition. If the condition is true, the statement 1 and 2 will execute, otherwise it will not. But statement 3 is not available within the if block, that is outside the if block, so it executes unconditionally. Let's see an example. If a greater than b colon, the next statement is big equal to a. So if the condition a greater than b is true, then the second statement gets executed, that is big equal to a is assigned to a variable called big, otherwise that will not be executed. So here the indentation plays a vital role. If you are not giving a tab space in the second line after the if, then it will show an error, you will not get the output. So the alternative execution is you need to include the else block. If a greater than b colon, big equal to a, else colon, big equal to b. Here I have mentioned like big equal to a, then semicolon, here big equal to b, semicolon. The semicolon is optional, that is ignored by the Python interpreter. That is, if you give by mistake the semicolon, then the Python forgives you and it will ignore the semicolon, because it becomes a habit for us to write the semicolon at the end of each line by writing the programs in C, C++, Java. So it's not necessary to write a semicolon, but even if you write, the Python ignores, so you no need to bother about it. So this will give you the various possibilities of writing the if statement. The first structure gives you a complex if statement, that is you have if x equal to 1, then it will print 1, else. Within this else block, again you have a if condition. If x equal to 2, then it will print 2. Again here you have else. Again within this else block, you have again one more if else. If x equal to 3, then it will print 3, else it will print 4. The second structure is nothing but if else if structure. So if x equal to 1, it will print 1. The else if can be written like this: elif. This is the syntax of writing the else if condition. ELIF. If the condition. Else if x equal to 2, then it will print 2. Else if x equal to 3, print 3. Else print 4. So the else concludes the completion of the if else block. Now we will see an example program which demonstrates this if statement. So go to your Python editor and type this program which reads two numbers A and B. I am converting the inputs into string using this int function. Then I am checking if A greater than B with the help of if condition. If A greater than B colon big equal to A, else colon big equal to B, then I am printing the biggest number is big. Now we'll try to run this program. We'll see what happens. Now type the command python and then the program name big.py. This is my program name. Enter. It will ask you to enter two numbers. For example, I am entering 34. My second number is 78. So it will print the biggest number is 78. Now we'll come back to the program. We will see what happens if the indentation is not proper. Now I already told you, after the if block, that is after the if statement, you need to give an indentation. Then only it recognizes this statement big equal to A is available within the if block. Now I am removing this indentation after the if. I am saving the file. Now I will try to run this file. What happens? Let's check. Run the program. See here. It will show an error in the line number 4, that is big equal to A. That is, the error is indentation error, expected and intended block. So your program will not run until you give the indentation for the if block. Now if you type like this, it recognizes that this statement is available within the if block and this statement is available within the else block, and this is a general statement irrespective of the if or else. Now if you run the program, it works fine. Now the biggest number is 66. So that's all about the if statements. We'll see in the next lecture. Thank you.